Beautiful sunny day here in downtown St. Louis. We welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside the one and only Joe Vitale, Darren Pang back here at Enterprise Center. Joe, the players, they are skating down there for the morning skate, and we're looking around yesterday, in case you weren't aware, but Braden Shen did not skate yesterday, a little bit of an oblique injury. He's out there right now, maybe gingerly skating around, but not sure of his of his attendance for this evening's game. So without his attendance, lines were juggled up there a little bit yesterday.
They were. I don't think we'll see one line tonight that's going to be similar to last game, and probably the first game of the season we've seen that. I think O'Reilly, Schwartz, and Tarasenko together. And what else you have
As
there?
of yesterday, then you've got Sanford, Bozak, and Steen. And then Robbie Fabry was with Robert Thomas and David Perron. And then you had Patrick Maroon and Barbashev and Oscar Sundqvist there yesterday. So the D match, they were all kind of jumbled around a little bit as well. So if that's the way it goes yesterday, then we'll see a different look. And one look that I'm interested in seeing, Robbie Fabry's climbing that ladder a lot quicker than we all anticipated. His play has been impressive.
Oh, it has been. I think that, we were talking about it after the last game when he looked so good with Tarasenko, when he got two or three good grade A scoring chances in that Minnesota game. They didn't have a lot of scoring chances, and it seemed like 15 was on top of a lot of those. And we thought it might take 5-6 games before the ball starts rolling, but here we are. We're going to see him tonight. He's going to log a lot of minutes there.
You know what, Joe, yesterday in talking to Robbie is, and I like his attitude now. I think as a 19-year-old making the team, it was, everybody gets excited. I mean, Robert Thomas, you're just excited to be here, and the minute that you do something on the ice to help the team, it's pretty exciting. And when it gets down real low and there's pressure on, usually it's on the veterans, and the young players don't feel that. Yesterday, he said to me, I'm going to take advantage of every second I'm on the ice and appreciate every moment that I'm on this ice right now. And I think if that's going to be his attitude all the way along, we're going to see a real hungry Robbie Fabry, and it has been impressive so far. So that being one part, and if Robert Thomas is his centerman, now Robert Thomas climbing the ladder a little bit, obviously based on Braden Shen playing or not playing. But this is something that the Blues management and coaches were probably looking for at one point anyway, to see him play with maybe some more of the offensive side of the puck kind of players, and he'd get that chance with David Perron.
Yeah, I think that tonight you're going to see a good look from Robert Thomas. I think he's pretty much been steady on that fourth line all season, except for the Minnesota game, the third period when Braden Shen went down with an injury. He saw a little bit more minutes, but this is a game he's going to come out here and start in that top 9 role, and to log some good minutes and kind of give him a good look. The clock's ticking a little bit on the decision on Robbie, and so we'll see Robbie Thomas I'm talking about.
This is game 9, isn't it?
Game 9 for him tonight. So we'll see what he can do with top minutes and playing with good players. And speaking of good players, I know Ryan O'Reilly is centering Tarasenko there and Jaden Schwartz, two guys that arguably Jaden Schwartz a little more than Vladimir Tarasenko, but two guys that need to get up and running, and who better to put in the middle of those two guys to be the spark plug than Ryan O'Reilly.
I mean, he's been as advertised. There's no doubt. He's been on the ice before practice and after practice. He's like a director of player personnel. He's like a coach. He's like a skills guy. He's like a real good mentor for these guys, and I've been impressed with his ability to analyze games, good or bad. He's just got a real good mind for the game. So, Jaden Schwartz he's such a diligent worker, and I would put him up as one of the best two-way forwards in the NHL. He just needs to get his swagger back. And, it just takes a little appreciation, and it also takes some hard work from him and capitalizing on some chances as well. But I think that line has got it looks pretty good.
It's going to get going. I think Jaden Schwartz, he's right there because the foundation is set for him. His work ethic is constant every single night. With the exception of the Minnesota game, I thought he was really starting to kind of come around, get a lot of chances with Shen, and he's on the bubble. He's right there. But an interesting one for me too is Pat Maroon on the fourth line. We've seen him on the first line all the way down to the fourth line throughout his whole career. How do you think he's going to make an adjustment tonight?
Well, it is all about attitude and not accepting where you are. I think it'll make Patrick Maroon a hungry hockey player. No one likes to see that on the board, where you're at. But I mean, he's a seasoned pro, and he came here because he's a character guy. And when you're a character guy and you've got that reputation, then these are the moments where you're tested. And this isn't the time for me anyway, I'd be looking at Patrick Maroon to go out there and do whatever it takes on that fourth line. It's chipping pucks in, it's finishing your check, it's being a hard player to play against, and you're going to get on the power play as well. So you're going to get your candy in that time. I mean, personally, I think Patrick Maroon, just like what we're seeing, except for Ryan O'Reilly, I think Bozak stepped in here and played pretty well. He's been with Alexander Steen primarily, and they've got a great relationship on and off the ice, and they're feeding one another. But Maroon's a different style of player. And yeah, you're right. He has played with Connor McDavid. He's played with terrific players, Getzlaf and Perry. And this scenario here maybe has been a little bit more challenging, but he's getting his points. He's doing some of the good things. I just think that in a game like this, you can use a little tenacity and a little bit of that big body that he's got right there that he's brought to the table throughout his NHL career.
Oh, I think terrifically. And, you've seen it, in Anaheim, whether he's with Getzlaf or down in the fourth line, and he's kind of like a chameleon. He kind of just adjusts to wherever he can play any style of game. And so I think it's going to be an interesting look to see Pat Maroon on that fourth line. You mentioned the defenseman, little shake-up in there, but Chad Johnson looks like he's in the starting goalie position here tonight. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a winning business right now, and the Blues are obviously, especially in the third period, giving up a lot of goals. I thought they ran into a bit of a juggernaut against the Minnesota Wild. We can analyze how the Blues played all game long, and certainly they didn't play their best game, but I'm not one to say that the Blues, were that bad. They weren't very good, but I like to think that Minnesota Wild came in with their A-plus game and were prepared for an A-plus game, and they played an unbelievable game. So if that's the standard that you've got to play against a tight defensive team, then I would expect this game tonight that the Blues, it got their attention. You're playing against a team right now that started off strong in Carolina, that has struggled a little bit. Their power play has really struggled, whereas, the Blues power play. But I'd like to see the Blues generate a lot more 5-on-5 anyway. The 5-on-5 numbers, goals for, goals against, they're not... They're too down. You got to get that in the plus market here, and then you get it to +5, then you get it to +10, and not be so reliant on just getting a power play, because as we well know, when it comes right down to it, Joe, you're not going to win hockey games in March and April because you're going to get 9 power plays. It's not going to happen. You're going to win hockey games with your penalty kill, with your defensive game, and with your 5-on-5 play.
Well, I thought that was really interesting. Last year, one thing they wanted to correct in this offseason was improving the power play, and they certainly
did.
My goodness, they have done it. They have 15 goals, leading the league with Washington right now for power play goals per game. But you see the Blues are still kind of sliding off a little bit, so it tells me one thing. And, you look at the Nashville Predators, surprisingly, they're at the very bottom of the league with power play goals per game, and look at them. They're leading the way.
The 5-on-5 play is so good. They're generating chances 5-on-5 from one line to the fourth line.
Exactly.
Big difference there.
While power play is important, I don't know if it's essential, like you were saying. I think it's the Blues improving that 5-on-5 style of game and getting that PK up and running. That's going to be a key, I think, moving forward, and that's something they need to establish.
And you know what I like watching during practice yesterday at the Mills? 5-on-5 coverage down low.
Yes.
I mean, I can't get enough of watching 5-on-5. I know it's from being a goaltender. I know it's from when you're in the net, you're looking at basically the back ends of all your players. And the closer the back ends get to you, for me, when I was a goaltender, the more I yelled at them to get out and be, whether it be gap closure or defend your net. I don't want them defending my net with their rear ends on the crease, in the crease. That's my territory. I got this territory. I liked the practice yesterday when they were going on 5-on-5. It got a little nasty too. I saw a couple of times defensemen really aggressive with the forwards. I know that Zach Sanford took a couple of chops behind the legs, and I thought we were going to get into something there yesterday. So I like that mindset. I think it's necessary right now to a man. They've got to play a more determined defensive game before we even think about what's happening on the offensive side of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're reminding me of the Montreal game after, Parayko had that turnover and things were really down. The next practice, I remember we're in Toronto, and it was a feisty practice. The tempo was up, the pace was up. There was a snarlness to the practice. There was competitiveness. And
you had a snarl on too, I think.
I did. Yeah, I was intense that day.
Yeah, you were snarly.
But yesterday reminded me of that. And it was chopping and hacking. And I think the big key from up top, it looks like the Blues to continue to improve on clearing that front of the net, especially when teams are smart. They're going low to high. They're breaking up. They're releasing the pressure in the offensive zone. You do that by going from the corner to the point, and they just throw bodies there. Minnesota did it extremely well. So a big challenge for the Blues moving forward, I think, is just going to be, instead of puck watching, you got to take a body. You got to find a guy going to the net. You got to box him out. Joel Edmondson does a terrific job of it.
Yeah, and to a man, that's the key there for sure. We got a big night tonight too. We got the first. How many, Gummy? First 12,000? First 12,000 are going to get this wonderful long sleeve shirt. It's brought to you by the fine folks at Fox Sports Midwest. I know these people. They're great people. They bring it to you every single night. And you're going to, look at that material. That looks great on you, Joe.
Oh, look at the size, too. It's a large. They ran out of these in the office. I might sneak off with this one.
Wait a second. You think you're fitting in that large? Are you kidding? You've been out of plane for a few years. There's an XL over there? XL? Wait, so where's the children's large? Because I'm going to grab that children's large one right there. Anyway, get to the game. Get there early. It's going to be a fantastic game against the Carolina Hurricanes. They've got some great players in Sebastian Aho, certainly one of the premier players in the National Hockey League. Blues got to get to the Carolina Hurricanes early and delete what happened in the last game. It's going to be a different style of game, so I think the Blues got to be prepared to get this game started. Anyway, that's going to be on 6:30 on the KMOX side, that 50,000-watt blowtorch there. Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale and John Kelly and I've got the call on Fox Sports Midwest beginning at 7 o'clock. Bernie Federico and Scott Warman with the pregame show at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. How about they enjoy their day, everybody? Do you want to say that?
Enjoy your day, everybody.
For Joe Vitale, I'm Darren Pang.